So let's just take a moment to appreciate how perfect this poached egg is. And do you know what? You can make dozens of them at a time. That's right, my friends, we're gonna make poached eggs for a crowd, or one for a few days. You'll see what I mean. So poached eggs, one of those classics that so many people love, but such a pain in the ass when you wanna make them at home. Can I say ass? Can you say pain? That's not too rude, is it?
I'd say pain in the butt.
I'm not really a butt person. Fair enough. I just never say butt. I don't know. Yeah, I would say boobs more than I would, but I'm just not really a butt person. It's a real pain in the boob. Let's do it again. Poached eggs, one of those things that's so amazing when you order it in a restaurant, but can be such a disaster when you're making them at home. And you know, if you're making them for more than one person even, it's a real pain. Now, I have all the little tricks that will help you out here, and you can be poaching like 12, 20 eggs at a time, promise. All right, let's get going on. We've got a whole bunch of technique to get through here. Let's do it in numbers, okay? Step one, when you're at the supermarket, go to the back of the egg shelf and find the freshest eggs, the eggs with the longest best before date. Because what happens is with an egg, that white part, when it's fresh, is really firm and it like clings to the yolk. When it's not fresh, you know that thing that happens when you crack an egg to poach it and the white just goes like everywhere, makes a huge mess in the pot? That's because the eggs weren't fresh. There's really not much you can do about that. So number one, fresh eggs. Now, before we get cracking on the eggs, I need to talk about our water situation here. So you want a pot of water that's just kind of gently steaming and bubbling. If it's too rapidly boiling, you're gonna break up the egg, another thing that's gonna break up the egg. Now, a lot of people are like, don't add vinegar or add salt or add this or that. Look, I add vinegar because you don't always have the freshest eggs, and the vinegar helps that white to kind of like coagulate and stick together. So I'm going to use it, and I don't use very much so it doesn't taste too vinegary. I've got 5 cups of water in this pot, and I'm going to use 5 teaspoons of white vinegar. So that goes in. And now one more thing before we get started. So number 3 is you want a big bowl of icy water. So if you don't have ice at home, look, just some really cold water is fine, but we're going to use this water to stop the cooking process once we've poached our eggs. You'll see how it works a bit later on, but let's get cracking with these eggs already. Now, I always like to crack the egg into a bowl first, just makes it easier to slide it into the water. And now what you want to do is get yourself a wooden spoon and create a vortex in your little saucepan. And this is another thing that's going to help keep our egg white all together. We're all about that. This is all trying to help keep that white around that yolk. And then you can see that little vortex in the middle and your egg goes in. Now, if you've done everything right here, you should have that egg white sort of spinning around into itself. That's looking really good. I like to get straight in there with my wooden spoon and just kind of like lift it off the bottom if it's sunk a little bit, because if it sits on the bottom, it'll cook in like sort of little hot spots. So just want to make sure it's floating. Now, I like to give these guys about only 3 minutes in here. That's a little bit underdone, but we do need to reheat these a bit later on. I want to make sure we're nice and runny and gooey and yummy when we get to the second part. So grab a slotted spoon and gently pull him out. Look how cute he is. And now straight into your ice water. So that ice water will stop the cooking process straight away, make sure that the egg doesn't overcook. And now we're ready to keep going, making as many eggs as we want. Let's do it. So now we have an ice bath chock full of poached eggs. What I like to do now is I just take them out because we've stopped the cooking now, so they're nice and cold. Just pop them onto a tray lined with some baking paper, and then you can do this like up to 3 days in advance. So actually, even if you weren't making this for a crowd, if you were just making them for one, you could make yourself some poached eggs for like the next 3 days. Have them sitting in the fridge, ready to go. So there you go. Now just once you've got them all out onto your tray, just cover them up, pop them in the fridge, and then whenever you're ready to eat your poached eggs, then we get to the next step. So all you need now is a clean pot of water, and once that's just, again, a gentle simmer, not a really rapid boil, then you can pop your eggs in, and you can really go hard here. I mean, you could put the whole 6 in, or 4, or whatever you need. And they just need a minute or so just to warm through, take that chill off, and get nice and gooey in the middle. Alright, so these are looking really good. Just take them out with a slotted spoon. And one more little tip here, I like to keep some paper towel and then just sort of pat them dry a little just to get that excess water off. And then you want to slide that onto your bacon. And then your final little bits and pieces, however you like to have your poached eggs. I like a little bit of salt. And then most people would have pepper, but you know me, chili. And there you go. I mean, whether you're cooking poached eggs for a crowd or you just want to make sure you've got your own poached eggs for a few days in advance, there you go. Super easy way to do it. And let's get in here and have a look at just how perfect that yolk is. That is so satisfying. Look at that egg porn. Nothing better. All right, I need to get in here because I actually haven't had breakfast today. Isn't that lucky? Soft, gooey, creamy, all the things that a poached egg should be. This is such a good cheat. And I can have poached eggs for breakfast tomorrow as well. Coffee? I need some coffee.